Okay. Are you ready for some food? Okay, just a minute. Hi, kitty. Hi, kitty. Hi, baby. You're a good girl. You're a good girl. Just a minute. Just a minute. We got out of water again. Get you some water. Did you spill it? Did you spill your water? Whoops. Sorry, baby. Here you go. That's a good girl. I'll have to come bring you some water. Yeah, I'll have to come bring you some water. Oh, you're still so skinny. You're still so skinny. Yes. Let me bring you some water in a little bit, okay? I gotta go finish my chores. Yeah, it's a good girl. I know. You have to stay in there a few more days, okay? Okay? No, you have to stay. I know. I'll pet you in a minute. There's some water. Okay. Come here, away from your cat litter box. Here you go. Hi, girly. Hi, girly. Oh, I know it's been a rough time, hasn't it? Yes, you look like you're feeling so much better. Yeah. Feeling better. Come back over here. I want to pet you in your litter box. Good girl. You're such a good girl. Yes. Yeah. You're such a good girl. Yes, you are. purring, but she is a purring. You're a nice girl. All right, honey. I'll see you in a little bit. See you in a little bit, okay? It is Thursday, and I needed to chat with you, and I also needed to work on some cucumbers, so I thought I would do both at the same time. Got my morning drink here. It's like it's called Ultima, and it's a 0 calorie, 0 sugar, like an energy drink. Well, it's kind of like Gatorade. Not really energy drink. It's got vitamins and minerals and stuff in it. Anyway, beside the point. So anyway, I have you on a chair because I was afraid if I put you on the table, it would bounce you around too much while I'm working on the cucumbers. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on these and kind of just fill you in on what has been going on. In the video clips that you saw of me doing chores this morning, you saw Chicken Cat in that dog pen, dog cage. She was spayed on Tuesday, and that was a nightmare. If you follow me on Facebook, you've already heard this story, but I don't think very many of you do follow me on Facebook, so I'm going to go ahead and just try to be as brief as I can and not elaborate too much on what in the world happened with the whole getting her spayed saga. So if you follow me, you know this cat showed up on my property. I wanted to get her spayed before she had kittens, but she was very feral, very wild, and she ended up having 3 kittens before I had a chance to tame her down enough to get her to the spay clinic. So she had the 3 kittens, and I found homes for them, and boy, that was very emotional for me. I let myself get attached to those kittens, and I knew I couldn't keep them, and even if I did keep them, they'd have to be outside cats, and yeah, so they went to a very good home. Little Sammy, and I will insert pictures of them as I go here. Little Sammy went to a home. He's gonna, I think it's a she, I'm not sure. I tried to check, but kittens are very difficult. I think Sammy was a she. She went to a home that has 4 children, and she's gonna be a house cat. And the children were so excited to get a kitten. And Sammy went to her new home last Friday. And then the other 2 kittens, Nugget, who I think is a girl, and Fry, who I think is a boy, they went to the same home. And they went on Monday, this week on Monday. And the home they went to also have children. They have 2 small children, a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. But Fry and Nugget are going to be barn cats because they have several barns on their property. But I questioned the lady, thoroughly before I let her take the kittens about how she was going to socialize them. She was going to put them in a dog crate or some sort of animal cage, kind of like what Chicken Cat's in, for a while, and just let them out and then put them back in till they acclimate to the new area, because I was just so concerned that they would wander off, because they were only just about 8 weeks old, maybe shy of 8 weeks by a couple of days. And so they were very young, and I was so afraid they would be so confused being in a different place and wander off. But no, she said that was her plan, was to, get them used to the area. And I was thankful they were together. And she did say she was going to get them vetted, so I'm assuming that means get them spayed and neutered. And I was very emotional Monday. I had been emotional all weekend, and yeah, it was sad to let them go, but I know they're in good homes, and I did what was best for the kittens, not what was best for me. So then that happened on Monday, and I had called the spay neuter place. It's a low-cost spay and neuter place, because if I had taken Chicken Cat to my family vet that I take my dogs to, it would have probably cost about $600 to have her spayed. And as you know, we just spent $5,000 on Sally at the emergency vet, and we have medications that we have to pay for every month for Sally, and they it runs us about, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it's about $50 a month for Sally's medications. Plus we put the $5,000 on a care credit card, and so we have that bill every month. And my husband, and me too, I'm not just going to blame Scott, but we just both knew that we reasonably could not afford to take Chicken Cat to our family vet. And so the spay and neuter place, they come once a month, and you meet them at your local county humane society, and then they transport the animals to the vet clinic that does this low-cost spay neuter. They do it on volume. That's how they can afford to do it at a lower cost. And then you meet them back the next, in that evening, the same day, and take your pet back home. So because Chicken Cat was feral, they suggested that we trap her the night before, just to make sure, because we had to be there. I had to be there very early, at least for me it was very early, on Tuesday morning. So Monday, I had made this plan that I was going to give her food and pet her, because she always let me pet her when I was feeding her, and then just kind of quickly grab her and put her in a pet carrier. Well, I'm telling you, she knew something was up. That cat is so smart. I don't know if it's because earlier that day her kittens had gone, or because I don't normally feed her in the evenings. I usually only feed her in the mornings, or what it was, but she knew something was up. And so I put the cat food in the pan, and she came up to eat, and every time, it's like she had eyes in the back of her head. Every time I'd reach down to pet her, just to pet her, not even to grab her, she would jump out of the way. And so I tried for a little while, and I was getting very frustrated, because I thought, if I have to wait another month to get her into the spay clinic, she will certainly be pregnant again. So my husband suggested baiting a live catch trap. It's the trap we used to catch those raccoons that killed all my chickens. I really didn't want to do that. He had suggested I do that. I try that from the very beginning, and I just was trying to be a little bit more kind to her. I didn't want to trap her that way, but she left me no choice. So we set the trap, baited it with some tuna, and within 15 minutes she was caught. Boy, she didn't like it. She was growling and spitting and hissing and having a total meltdown. So I left her in the live catch trap. I had considered trying to transfer her to the pet carrier to take her, but I'm like, no, I'm not even gonna try. So we left her in the trap overnight, early before the sun came up. I was up, taking that cat to the local Humane Society. Well, the problem is I didn't know where the Humane Society was. I'd never been there before. And so Scott tried to tell me how to get there, and had I followed his directions, it would have been very simple. But I was nervous about it. I get lost so easy. I don't know my way around, and
I was very nervous about it. I hate going to places that I've never been to before, and I get turned around so easy. I've been that way my whole life. I do not know my way around. I don't know north, south, east, west. I only can find places from landmarks, and even then it's not 100% that I'm going to find my way. So I told him, I said, okay, that sounds easy enough, but go ahead and put the address in my GPS just to be on the safe side, and I will just follow the GPS directions. That was a huge mistake. I don't know why, but sometimes my GPS is wrong. And this time, the GPS was wrong. Sometimes it'll tell me I should turn, like in this particular case, I should have turned left, and it told me to turn right, and it got me going in completely the opposite direction. And so I'm thinking to myself, I just don't think this is right, but I was following the GPS wrong. Never do that again. Never make that mistake again. And finally it said, you have reached your destination. It is on the right. So I looked to my right, and it's a town park. So I'm like, this isn't right. And I had a deadline. I had to have her to the Humane Society by a certain time. And I was panicking. Because I didn't know where I was. I didn't know where my destination was, and I didn't know how to get to my destination. My GPS thought I was already there, and clearly I wasn't. So I called Scott all in a panic. I certainly was not calm at all, and he couldn't really help me much because he was at work. So he said, get back on this certain road and just stay on that road and you should find it. Well, thank the Lord, I did. I found it, and the only reason I found it is because I saw a line of people. There was all kinds of cars, and I saw a line of people, and I saw someone with a dog. That is the only way or reason I found it, because the sign for the place was covered by trees, and the sign that was on the building was covered by all of the vehicles that were parked in the parking lot. So it was not super obvious that I was at the right place. But I was on the phone with Scott, and I said, I think I found it. I see cars and a dog. And sure enough, it was the place. And I did not know that. Maybe it's because the economy is so horrible right now, but there were a ton of people there dropping off their animals. And that was what saved me as well, because there was a big line. So even though I was late getting there, because of the long line, I was still able to get her there and on the transport to the spay and neuter place. And so that was that morning, Tuesday morning. I had to go to my chiropractor at 11. So I got home, got a shower, got my cup of tea, and then I had to turn right around and go to my chiropractor appointment. Got back from my chiropractor appointment, had some lunch, did a little stuff around the house, and then I had to take my dad to a dentist appointment. So I took Dad to the dentist appointment, and while I was at the dentist, the spay and neuter place called me, and because I told them, I said, it's possible that she's pregnant again. I don't think so, but it's possible. And had she been pregnant again, of course they would have done the surgery anyway, and the kittens, they said the kittens would have, pass away from the anesthesia anyway. So they would have to clean her out and put her on an antibiotic. And the antibiotic was a one-shot deal that lasts for 2 weeks. It's a slow time release thing, and it would be $40. It'd be an extra $40. And so they said, do you want us to call you before we give her that antibiotic shot if it's needed? And I said, yes. And I don't know why I said yes, but at the time I was just like, I was already rattled, and I thought another extra $40 on top of what I was already being charged. I don't know. I knew I was going to go ahead and do it anyway, but I said yes. So anyway, while I was at the dentist with my dad, they called, and thank goodness it's not because she was pregnant, because she was not. Thank goodness she was not pregnant. But because during the exam, they gave her an examination while they sedated her before they took her out of the trap, and then they gave her a thorough examination. They gave her a treatment for fleas. It's called Frontline. I don't know if it was an injectable or what they did. And they gave her a rabies vaccination that will last for 3 years. And they were able to figure out how old she was. She's about 2 years old. And they just checked her over. Well, of course, because she had just had kittens and she was still lactating, they discovered she had mastitis. And so they called to find out if it was okay to give her that $40 antibiotic shot for the mastitis. And of course I said yes. So then that evening, Scott was home from work, and I said, I've been driving all day and you are driving me back to pick that cat up. Drove back, picked her up, and it ended up costing me $114. It was for the spay. It was $50 for the spay, the rabies shot, the flea treatment. And then they also tipped her ear, which I wasn't happy about. I asked them if they could not do that, and they said, no, that's non-negotiable with a feral cat, because if she wanders off the property and she gets trapped again, they will know she's already been spayed. So they tipped her ear, and that was $50. There was a $10 transport fee and $14 optional, but I opted for it, pain shot. So they gave her a pain shot, and then of course the $40 for the antibiotic. So when we got her home, I wanted to put her out of the trap into that cage. And they had said, oh, you can just leave her in the trap and then just let her go in the morning. And I just thought, no way, I am not doing that. She's going to be she's going to be in pain. She just had major surgery, and I want to be able to keep an eye on her. So she went into the cage without any trouble at all. And I think it's mainly because she was still kind of half loopy from the surgery and the stress of the day. But she went in right away without any trouble. I set up like a temporary litter box in there. I just bought a disposable aluminum roasting pan and some cat litter. And she's been using that cat litter box. I didn't have to train her or nothing. She's just been using it, and it's awesome, you know. And all day all day Wednesday, yesterday, anytime I'd go out there to talk to her or to take care of her, like to clean the litter box, give her food and water, she'd just growl at me and growl and back herself away. But last evening, I went out to check on her last time and to give her a little bit more food and check on her water, change her water and all that. And when I went out there, instead of growling at me, she was meowing at me. And you saw how she acted this morning when I was feeding her. That's how she acted to me last night. And in fact, she rolled over on her back and let me scratch her under the chin. And she was just purring and purring and purring. So I guess she has forgiven me for all of the trauma of taking away her kittens and trapping her in a trap and putting her in a vehicle. She's never been in a car before. And, you know, being in that trap for over 24 hours and everything that she went through on Tuesday, Monday night and Tuesday, she's forgiven me for it. I am going to leave her in that cage to monitor her until Saturday. On the paper it said 5 days. Yeah, they gave me aftercare paperwork and it said to keep them from being super active for 5 days after. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but they told me to let her out of the trap that night. And you can't keep them from being active if if they're out roaming about. So Friday or Saturday will be, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, Saturday will be 5 days. And so I'm going to keep her in till Saturday. And I'm thinking maybe by the time I let her out of that cage, she will have kind of acclimated herself to the garage area, and she'll stay up closer to the house and not go back out into the chicken coop. That's what I would prefer. I'd prefer her to stay up close to the house. And I told Scott, I said, maybe if she does that and stays really friendly, we could get one of those heat mats that you can get for outdoor animals for the wintertime and set up a little place for her to sleep when it's cold, because she still can't be a house cat. Even if she turns out to be a super, super sweet animal, my son has severe cat allergies, so we can't have her in the house. All right, got all the cucumbers done while I was chatting, and I think I've got you updated on everything that's going on with the cats and the cat and the kittens. So I do have some more produce that I need to work with, but I'm going to set you up over on the counter and put this to music and just keep on trucking with getting this stuff done today. Unfortunately, this melon was pretty overripe. I know it doesn't look like it, but when I went to cut it, I could like feel the graininess and stuff of it, and I can't stand watermelon that's overripe. It's my favorite fruit, but it has to be perfect or even slightly underripe. But overripe, that grainy texture, I'm a texture person, and it puts me off. So that's why I left quite a bit of the melon on the rind, but I'm gonna take these out to my chickens and they are going to love it. Oh shoot, fell over. There we go. There you go, guys. I came out to check on her, and it looks like she spilled her water and the towels that are in there are all wet. So she's been hanging out in her litter box. I think it's because the towels are wet. So I'm going to try to get a puppy pad in there and just have one towel towards the back for her to lay on. And hopefully the puppy pad will absorb whatever water gets spilled, and maybe it won't get spilled as much if it's on more of a flat surface. I am not going to be able to record this, so I will show you when I'm done what it looks like. Yeah. Here you go, sweetie. Here you go. Yeah, those towels that were in there were soaking wet. That's why she wasn't wanting to lay over there. You can see where they tipped her ear. It looks so sad. I'm really sad they did that, but couldn't be helped. I always give her a little treat of tuna when I have to work with her. She gets a regular breakfast in the morning, but then she gets a treat. So that was very easy. I always close the garage door too, in case she just bolts out of the cage, but she hasn't been acting like she wants to bolt out. She just wants attention, so that is a good thing. We leave the garage door open during the day so she can get lots of fresh air, have something to look at, have some sunshine. Well, she can't really get sunshine directly on her, but so she can get fresh air and something to look at. Yeah, I know. It'll be all right. She's much happier. Did not realize those towels were so soaking wet. Poor baby. I thought she was drinking all that water and she was spilling it. And I went ahead and just hung the towels out here on the fence to dry because, as you can see, they are covered in wet cat litter. And so they have to dry and then we can shake the cat litter off. These are just old towels that were used for rags anyway, but they're still good. They're good for that, so I don't want to throw them away. So I washed my hands and I disinfected my phone, and while I was out dealing with the cat, water started boiling. These are some black-eyed peas that Olivia and I shelled on Monday, and I've got to get these blanched and in the freezer. Next on my agenda is to make some of those peanut butter chocolate chip cookies that I have shared on this recipe on this channel before. I've shared this recipe. It's from the Trim Healthy Future cookbook, and it is low carb. The only thing I'm going to do different this time is I'm going to add a couple scoops of this chocolate bone broth collagen just to up the protein a little bit more. If I do that, or I'm going to do that, and I may have to add a little bit more liquid. But we'll just see. I'm just going to set this to music while I make these cookies because you've seen me do it before. So let's get started. Oh, and I just wanted to mention that Scott was able to fix my oven, so that is why I'm able to bake cookies today. Yay for Scott. Oh my goodness, these cookies smell so good. But unfortunately, this is a 1 meal a day for me. And so I can't eat anything until supper time. But I will definitely have a couple of these after supper tonight. can hardly wait. They smell so good. And this is what we had for supper. I tried a new recipe that I had found on YouTube, watching one of my YouTube channels, and it was these, they called them corn dog muffins, and they were actually very, very good. I am going to make them again. It called for Jiffy corn muffin mix, and I didn't have any Jiffy corn muffin mix. I only had some gluten-free muffin mix, and so I used that, and it tasted fine, but the texture was a little bit different and they were kind of crumbly. So when I make these again, I'm going to use the Jiffy muffin mix like they recommended. And if you're interested in seeing this video or let me sharing this recipe on a video, just let me know and I will definitely do that for you. And I will make sure and credit the person that I saw this recipe from if I share it. And the rest of the meal was a kind of a bummer. The zucchini I sauteed with some onion, and I had gotten this zucchini from Aldi, and it was bitter. I only took like 2 bites, and I couldn't eat any more of it. And I actually usually just really love fried zucchini, but this zucchini was just not good. And then you already know the watermelon was kind of grainy and overripe. But anyway, the muffins tasted good and the family liked them, although they all commented that the cornbread was kind of crumbly. And I did have a couple of those cookies for dessert, and they were delicioso. I really, really like this low-carb chocolate chip cookie recipe that I got from the Trim Healthy Future cookbook and added a few tweaks of it on the recipe because I usually always do. And this is where I'm going to go ahead and end this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit of a very chatty vlog. The majority of this video was me peeling cucumbers and catching you up to date with Chicken Cat and her kittens, but I know you all really enjoy my animals and like to know about them, and I'm sure you were interested in seeing Chicken Cat and hearing the story of her adventures this week. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye, friends.